Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and what the hell do we care anyway, guys? We've just been up to the North Pole to take on Aberdeen in a top-of-the-table clash that is a fixture that we've all been looking forward to for the last week or so, because with this ultra-marathon period of fixtures we've been in, it feels like we're seeing this Celtic squad really get into peak performance situation where we're taking on all-comers, we're showing that domestic dominance, and we're even starting to flex a little bit of European excellence. This predicted 11, the team to play Aberdeen, was probably the hardest one we've had to do so far this season, and probably the hardest starting 11 that the manager has had to select so far this year, with so many players showing why they should be starting in this game. Aberdeen showed up, certainly played their part, and if you checked out the preview on this channel, there wasn't really too many surprises from Aberdeen. They wanted to make it physical, they wanted to make it a tight game, and they wanted to try and, exploit any lapses in concentration, maybe use the weather to their advantage, maybe the referee might have helped them with a decision or two, but a very tight encounter that Celtic eventually broke through to win by 1-0. In the video today, we're going to be breaking down what happened at Pittodrie, the good, the bad, the ugly, and I suppose everything else in between. At any point in the video today, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and we'll be back on the channel later tonight to preview Celtic versus Hibs this weekend. I'll link that stream at the end of this video, so if you want to check that out, all you need to do is click on the link that pops up on screen and hit the little reminder bell, and we'll see you at 7:30 tonight. But yeah, get into the comment section in this one. I thought this was going to be 4-0. I thought we were really going to flex our muscles and really, carry on from where we left off at Hampden, but it wasn't quite that night. Let me know what your takeaways are, your thoughts, your feelings, the highs, the lows, everything else. And to everyone that did make it to the game, I hope you all got home nice and safe. I know what that journey's like from Aberdeen, especially in bad weather. It's very treacherous. So yeah, hope you all travelled well, got home safely in the end. And yeah, look forward to the comment section. I'm sure it's going to be on fire. Let's get stuck into it. Because like I mentioned in the intro, the predicted 11, the starting 11 for this game was not a foregone conclusion. It wasn't an easy one to predict. And if you went across Celtic social media, Celtic fan media, there was all sorts of different combinations of defence, of midfield, maybe not forward line, I suppose. And ultimately, I think what Brendan ultimately opted for kind of caught everyone a little bit by surprise. We've seen Trusty come back in. I don't think that was a huge surprise alongside Carter Vickers. I did think Scales could have done a shift in this game, and I thought he might have played like 3 games in this little window, but no, Trusty came back in. Valley retained his place as well alongside Paul Bernardo, but Reo Hatate comes back into the team. And I think we went live on Celts Are Here on our TikTok channel right before kickoff as the team sheet came out, and this was the number one comment that was coming in from all you guys that joined us on TikTok was, where is Luke McKeown and what does he need to do to get a starting berth in this team? But we expected Kuhn to come back in, we expected Dyson to start, and Kyogo and Ida was always a coin toss. I was again very surprised, similar to the Scales and McKeown not starting this, that Adam Ida didn't start this one, because I just felt he would have been much better equipped to deal with the physical nature of Aberdeen. And really this game, from the opening segments of it, kind of went the way you would expect it to. Aberdeen like to defend really deep with their back six, with Shinnie and Nielsen just being like proactive defenders that will go and confront the ball, give away a foul, go and get tight to someone and make it really difficult, and try and use the pace they've got with Kiskinen on the left, Duke on the right, to try and be supported by McGrath, the playmaker, who's quite a bit of a unit himself, as well as the target man Nisbet on the counter-attack on transition. So this is something that, again, like in the first half, we were very, very dominant in possession, so much so that Aberdeen, for the most part, were in their own half, and we were really stroking the ball around from left to right quite comfortably for big periods of this match without really penetrating, without really actually making it count. And for me, I was getting really nervous in the first half, because when it is 0-0, we got no shots away in the first half. It just felt like, that this felt a lot more like we were playing into Aberdeen's hands. All it would have taken was one kind of break of the ball, one dodgy decision from the ref, one lapse in concentration from someone in defence, and they could have maybe got the opening goal in this one. And for me, the first goal was always going to really decide, the fate of this game, the longer it took for the first goal to come as well. And obviously you guys have seen the match, you'll know how and when it happened. We'll get to that in the video shortly. But for me, the first half, because we did dominate possession and we really did lack any cutting edge to actually get goal scoring opportunities up and going, like this goalkeeper Duhan coming in, we were all kind of wet, the appetite was whetted here, thinking no Mitov, backup goalkeeper, we should be putting lots of shots on, should be scoring lots of goals in this one. He was widely untested in this game. And for me, we really got a big flashback, a big deja vu in this Aberdeen first half to what we seen in the Bruges first half when we were dominating possession. And again, it's coming back to the passing ability of the centre backs and the ability for us to get the ball out of the deeper areas of the pitch and really trying to get through a crowd, because Aberdeen made this really crowded. They made it very physical and very difficult to actually penetrate into the final third. Carter Vickers was defensively impeccable in this game. I don't think he put a foot wrong at all. He had a great game. But again, it was just there for all to see in this one that his passing range is so one-dimensional that if a team is banking in and making it really difficult for you to penetrate through, because he doesn't have a range of passing, he never plays it between the lines. He never plays a pass where it's like 50-50, you know, like if Johnson's out here and he's got somebody kind of close to him, Carter Vickers is always going to lay it here so that he can get it nice and safely. There's never that chance that Vickers would maybe slide this ball into Kuhn or do something like. He's always playing it super safe, which is kind of fine, but it puts even more pressure, and we said this at the Bruges game, on the other centre-back to do that. And really in the first half, again, like, I don't think Trusty showed that he has that passing range, that passing ability to take the pressure off of Vickers and to give us something a little bit different coming out from the back. But as we started to shape up for the most part, Aberdeen, Pittodrie, it's a bit of a smaller ground and all the rest of it. We actually seen Valley become a lot more inverted in this game. We've seen Bernardo actually sticking to McGregor a little bit more narrow. Now, Bernardo was given license to go into the final third and, you know, just be that kind of forward destroyer type midfielder, which is fine. But for the most part, he was rather close to McGregor in the first half. And this base, this kind of 2-3s at the back that we had here, was a really nice network to like build up, you know, from the back, control possession, move the ball from left to right, and trying to find some sort of gap, trying to find some sort of opening. But when you've got so many players in this position here, you need someone that is going to break between the lines, someone that is going to carry the ball, actually dribble by somebody. And again, between McGregor, Valley maybe tried it a few times without much success. No one was really up for it, and it really did feel that, like I mentioned already, we were kind of playing into Aberdeen's hands. They were really happy for us to have this pointless possession here, trying to play it to Kuhn. The ball turns over, Kiskinen runs up the pitch, Johnson wins it back, he gives it to Vickers, Vickers plays Trusty plays Vickers, and then reset, rinse and repeat from there. And I know the weather would have played a huge part in this, don't get me wrong, but it just really felt like in the first half everything we did was so ponderous, so one-dimensional, so haphazard as it were. The amount of times that we put Dyson down on the left hand side here and he's trying to slap across him with his left foot blind without even looking, and it went absolutely nowhere. It was just absolutely blood boiling at times. Dyson Maeda is super effective at the press, of course, and we love having him coming in as a second forward in at the back post and everything else, but his distribution, his actual wing play is rank, to be honest with you. Like, he just doesn't have delivery, it just doesn't have composure, it doesn't have technique, and he really can't play the ball in too many different spaces. And he did have a good bit of joy here on Devlin, but the main player we have to be getting on the ball in these situations is Kuhn on the other side of the pitch here, and it just felt like he was isolated at points of the first half. He was itching to get on the ball, and because of this lack of passing dynamic we had coming out of the back, he was like, you know, just in no man's land for the most part. We even seen Kyogo dropping deep once or twice, and really, like I said in the chat to some of the people I was chatting to, that his first touch was like a trampoline in a lot of this game. You know, really nothing good came from Kyogo. He obviously clattered the goalkeeper in the face with his knee, which might have brought on their third choice goalkeeper, who just had been recalled from a loan at Bonnyrigg Rose or something like that. So that might have been his only contribution in the game, but Duhan actually stayed on for this one. And you did feel that Hatate came into this game with a real point to prove after the McKibben display that we had at the weekend. And Hatate, you know, Hatate was good in this game. You know, he was ever present, you know, and that's one of the things that you really get from Bernardo and from Hatate in midfield, is that they're actively present. You know, they're always involved in the play, they always want to be on the ball. And yeah, like, my biggest problem with the midfield always is in these games that they don't actually connect with each other often enough. It's always about them getting on the ball and trying to find one of the forward players, or use a fullback, or go all the way back to defence. There's never really too much opportunity for passing movement between the midfield three to then take a man out of position and then create some sort of overload that will put these guys on the back foot, or force one of them to step out and make a mistake, which then could buy somebody else some yards to do something. It's just so like playing in front of the team, you know, it's just so flat-footed, it's just so easy to mark and easy to shift along with. Now, you're asking Aberdeen to stay concentrated and really keep up their energy levels off the ball, of course, and this style of play really does pay off in the second half, because if you keep true to it, eventually, like, you know, the sort of teams we're playing against, the wheels will fall off them, and we do kind of see that. But I do think Bernardo and Hatate did well in the first half without doing exceptional. And what I mean by that, like I say, is they were just omnipresent. They were just always happy to be in and around play, affect the ball, get on the ball, and trying to do something without it really, you know, materialising, without it really translating into shots, into goals, into some sort of success. And, you know, like, I thought the first half, like, I was speaking to lots of Celtic fans in different chats and watching content and all the rest of it, and I think a lot of people were on the same kind of frame of mind that Hatate wasn't producing the McKeown-esque performance. And I think, like, the main difference you see in the last two fixtures between Hatate and McKeown is McKeown really does seem to have that he's playing for his life attitude in his game, where it's give everything. And I'm not saying Hatate or anyone else doesn't give everything, but it does seem that he's not playing like his life is on the line. You know, if he does lose the ball, if he does try something and it doesn't come off, it's not that he's not bothered, but he quite accepts it and he goes, okay, well, on to the next one, and he'll try again, which is fine. But in this type of game, when it is so tight, you want to see things move a little bit quicker. You want to see things be a bit more direct, and you want to see that player that is really bursting to try and make something happen out of the game. And Hatate just doesn't admit that too much, to be honest with you, whereas McKeown really does seem to embody it. So I think that was the main difference. But Hatate was doing a really good job of supporting Kyogo and the front line in general, and we normally get that from the Japanese lads when they all play together. We've got that kind of Japanese front kind of mega press on the go. But it certainly did feel that Valley had a pretty poor first half and was maybe a little bit unlucky to get booked. It did feel that Duke and the rest of the Aberdeen players had maybe conned the ref a little bit. But he was the only half-time sub. We had him coming off for Taylor. And from the start of the second half, you know, I did feel in the opening stages that our attitude normally is score fast, score quick, take control of the game. And really from the first whistle into the second half, it did feel that McGregor had a little bit more licence to try and get a little bit forward, and Bernardo was being a little bit more willing to try and just kind of cover that ground and make sure McGrath wasn't getting, you know, free space if the ball turned over. And, you know, it resulted in a little bit more pressure. We started to get some more balls going into the box, but ultimately it didn't really materialise, didn't really yield into anything. This tactic that Aberdeen played, where they started McGrath in the middle with Kiskinen on the outside with Duke, was a kind of hybrid of what we've seen at Celtic Park, where they started with some of this and then they subbed in guys at half time. But this felt a bit more of a hybrid approach, putting the strength in the middle with the pace in the wide areas, whereas when we started at Celtic Park, McGrath was on the left and come inside. And they made quite typical changes in that vein around the 60th minute, where they bring in Sockler for Nisbet for a little bit of injection of pace into this, and then they renew the right flank with Duke coming off for Morris, which was quickly followed by our double substitution of Kyogo for Ida, and to a lot of fans' surprise, not Hatate for McKeown, Bernardo for McKeown. And what we've seen here, this felt like we really went gung-ho at this point. We really went into all-out attack mode, because with Taylor being in that inverted fullback position, and we know how wily Taylor is in these types of games, he is perfect for our team domestically. Like, there's no quibbles for me domestically. Like, Taylor is fantastic for us. Him coming in here to take over from Valley, who wasn't really having the best time of it, of course. And then McKeown, we actually seen McKeown and Hatate swap sides. We've seen Hatate come over to the right hand side more to play on the inside passing lane, like so. And then we've seen McKeown come in on the left hand side to again be able to play these balls in on the inside channel as well. And, you know, my main worry when this happened was that we had three wee guys in midfield, because this is the thing that's always stopped me thinking that Rodgers would play the three of these guys together, particularly from the start. But in a game like this, where Shinnie, Nielsen, McGrath, these guys are big, robust midfielders that are smashing guys about, Rubezic, Devlin, these guys are all hatchets. And, you know, I just felt like, you know, there should be a Bernardo, there should be an Engels, there should be somebody with a bit of stature in the middle of the pitch to still kind of, you know, control the ball, put their foot on it. But it felt like Trusty started to come up a bit higher into the pitch. And again, Trusty, when he gets into these types of zones, when we're on the ball, when we're in open play, he's much more effective than when he is in the defensive half, parallel with Vickers. And, you know, it just feels like, you know, once he can get into this space here, Trusty can be much more effective. And Taylor and, you know, Dyson's kind of evolution before he came off, we started to see much more of that, which I suppose negates the need for that stature-based midfielder. And really, having McKeown and Hatate in here, with Ida providing a bit of strength in the front line, was like a total night and day situation. It really did feel that Aberdeen were struggling now to deal with us on the ball. McKeown was so good at 1-2 touch passing, 1-2 touch play, which, you know, Bernardo's really good at in a more controlled defensive setting, where it's like, don't give the ball away. Yeah, Bernardo can play forward passes, but like we always say on this channel, like he needs to see the pass. The pass needs to be in front of him. He's not a guy that's that creative or got that great game awareness where he can play a lot of stuff blind, especially penetrating passes. Whereas McKeown can play balls round the corner, can play it over the shoulder, doesn't mind 1-2 touch stuff really quickly. It's actually a big part of his game here, and we've seen that real play for your life mentality come out of McKeown, and it felt that Hatate was kind of lifted by this extra energy because he had someone to kind of run around with in the front line to kind of partner with, and this for me was the difference. McKeown and Hatate in that kind of dual attacking midfielder situation was great to see. This isn't the first time we've seen this. I think it was against Motherwell or something like that, but there was a game where McGregor was last minute injured and Bernardo played in this position, and it was McKeown and Hatate that played in front of him. So it was good to see the work we did a few games ago in terms of getting these guys to play together and adjusting the shape for it came through. It paid off in a really big game, a really important match for us. But the first goal didn't come until there was another couple of changes. Again, Aberdeen bringing in Basuin for Kiskinen and Clarkson for McGrath. Kind of weakens their midfield a little bit as well, and Clarkson missed an absolute sitter in this one. But Aberdeen actually changed their whole front four, and really, like, this is what I was saying before coming into playing them at Celtic Park, is although like their best 11 is kind of their best 11, like the level of guy they've got coming off the bench isn't really that different, you know. Like, they're actually got a good kind of bridge between the first string and the second string in terms of the level of them. And really, like, Aberdeen were actually unlucky not to score with the mistake from Trusty with Clarkson's sitter that he missed. But bringing on Forrest for Dyson, as well as at this point having Taylor, having McKeown, having Ida on the pitch, it felt like this is a team that really should have started. I thought there was a bit of fear that Forrest, or not fear, but like, obviously I play fantasy football and I didn't have Forrest in any of my teams, but Forrest did the pre-match press conference and I thought that might have lent itself to him actually getting a surprise start in this game. I know that Forrest made a big difference in this one, but he actually has delivery, you know, like he is an actual winger's winger, you know, Forrest, and whether he's on the left or on the right, you know that he can actually find someone with his left foot delivery over the last year and a bit. By the way, Forrest went way under the radar. He's not a one-footed player like he used to be. He is still one-footed, you know, but he doesn't mind slapping it in with his left, and he can find somebody with it. And it felt like it was just a matter of time at this point, with McKeown and Hatate really supporting Big Ida, having Forrest been able to give Devlin all sorts of nightmares on one side. Kuhn was coming into the game a little bit more, and then with Taylor up here wildcard in the place, it just felt that we were finally, like, we had the right personnel to really take down this Aberdeen team. And then of course we break through the dam. Taylor with a fantastic ball from this sort of area here, just plays it into the box. Hatate runs onto it, smashes it into the back of the net, and the wee man has, you've seen it all over his face, the joy, the jubilation. He was so thankful that his hard work and his endeavour in this match paid off, and especially with the pressure that McKeown's putting on him for that jersey, and I wouldn't say the doubters, but maybe the detractors for Hatate over the last week or two with the performance of McKeown. You can feel, and we said it pre-match coming into this, that Kyogo and Reo really had to deliver something in this game. Kyogo, sadly for him, did not. Taylor came out in a big way. Of course, Hatate goes on to get the match-winning goal here. And it really does feel that this game is a story of the midfield. Hatate, like we mentioned in the first half, and really throughout the whole game, he had a constant presence in the game with having not really much success in what he was getting up to. Bernardo in the early stages of the game, again, rather omnipresent with the game, but his contributions aren't really attack-minded, you know. And slowly as the game progressed, we make some of these changes. We really have to, twist the screw. We really have to try and, if we think about Aberdeen as the MMA fighter that are on their back waiting to counter some sort of move that we make, some sort of mistake that we make, and then they go and put us in a submission or do whatever. We have to make sure that this pressure does break through, it does count. We can get the rear naked choke on them or the armbar or whatever. I'm not a big MMA guy these days, maybe you guys are, but that's what it felt like from Aberdeen, that they were recoiled, they were waiting for us, come and do your best, and if you slip up, I'll get you, sort of thing. So we needed those midfielders to really, we needed Hatate's success in the final third, or his contribution success, to really go up, and I felt that McKeown just really gave a lot of that as well. And it's a hard thing to put into words, but although I wouldn't say anyone actually played bad in this game, a lot of guys were just still being quite one-dimensional for the most part, and it really took having the strength up front, having that desire. It's really the desire that made the difference for me, and it's not to say that any of the guys that started and came off don't have that desire, but you can see there's a markable difference in how they cover the ground, the passing, the shots, the decisions that Adam, Ida, McKeown, I'd put Taylor into this category as well, really do make compared to some of the other players that have started in this one. And Aberdeen, really, we're talking about the difference in their first string to second string. Our difference now is almost gone. The margin is almost zero at this point. And this will come out of this game being like a great victory for the squad. I think Brendan has played another blinder tactically here, because I don't think anyone's seen McKeown coming on for Bernardo in terms of like the subs that people seen coming on. And it wasn't until the 88th minute that we've seen Arne Engels come on to maybe just shore it up a little bit with his stature, his kind of strength in the middle of the pitch, as it were. And that's one of the things that I've really enjoyed from Brendan Rodgers so far this year, is he has won so many points with his decisions not being the template ones. And yeah, sure, the subs maybe happen at the same time. Yeah, sure, Ida still come off for Kyogo. But some of the decisions he makes, like playing Taylor on at half-time, again, I think some people have seen that coming because of the yellow card. But even stylistically, Valley was not having any joy in this game. That was quite clear to see. And having the cojones, having the guts to go all out attack, play the three wee men in midfield, bring McKeown on for Bernardo, I thought was an absolute masterstroke. And what I'm trying to get at here is really, for me, the biggest contribution in this game was the manager rather than some of the players individually on the pitch. I don't agree with the starting 11, but I think a lot of the changes he's made throughout the game to get to the starting 11 that we probably should have got was very well timed, very well managed as well. Because again, like, if I told you before the game, McKeown's going to come on for Bernardo and Engels is going to come on for Hatate, you don't think that Engels only gets 2 minutes, do you? And you don't think that McKeown is going to get like the thick end of 30-35 minutes to play with, you know, the three wee men. So great decision making from the manager, and ultimately, again, it's I can't say it enough, just a great result ultimately to come away from there with the win. But we were not in great control in this game for large periods of it. It took us until the 69th minute to get our first shot on target, and you might remember it because it was that kind of flurry of Hatate and somebody else was involved. I think maybe Ida, where there was like 2 or 3 quick chances, and I was like, how did that not go in? Those were our first shots on target in the game. Having a look at the player ratings on this match out of 100, there's a few winners and maybe 1 or 2 losers. I think Alex Valley's performance here, 12 out of 100, certainly does feel that for 45 minutes he did not have a good time of it at all. 1 foul, maybe it was 1, maybe it was 2, depends on who you speak to, of course. He's picked up the booking. No tackles, no clearances. He's won 3 duels, having lost 8. Not that many passes, a fair amount of the possession loss as well, and just not really a good day at the office for him. Very much out of his habitat. I think we can give him a wee bit of latitude on this one. And Trusty comes out of this as the highest rated player with 93.7 out of 100. He's got his clean sheet bonus there. He's also been credited with a goal line clearance. Now, I'm not sure if this is meant to go for Vickers and it maybe needs change, but I don't remember Trusty making a goal line clearance. He's made a tackle, a clearance, a block, which is all nice. He's won way more duels than he's lost, an interception. Huge pass count. Not much of it went into the final third. He actually missed 12 passes, losing possession in total 13 times. And yeah, like no final third presence. He did have that squandered opportunity, of course, that I'm sure he'll be pretty gutted with. But Greg Taylor, for me, only played 45 minutes, and he was the second best rated player on this game, 86 out of 100 with his assist, of course. He got a double-double in this game, which means he picked up 2 tackles, 3 effective clearances, 1 interception, 3 positive duels, so he won 4, lost 1, so that's 3 positive. 26 accurate passes, 14 of them in the final third. He did miss 7 passes with 8 possession lost in total, so out of the 8 possession lost, 7 of them were the missed passes, so he's lost like that 1 duel. Very good performance from little Taylor in this one. He's won a contest, he made his big chance, of course, which was the assist, and he played a couple of balls into the box. A very, very credible 45 minutes from GT3. Cara Vickers wasn't too far behind him in an 85 score, and again, the big man was a colossus. He really was the embodiment of himself. Cool, calm and composed, didn't put a foot wrong, no one could get by him. 4 effective clearances. He's won a tackle, he's got a block, 3 duels won, no lost, interception, 139 passes, 8 of them were missed, and those were his only possession lost. So good going from the big man. No attacking presence whatsoever. Right behind him we had the goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel with his clean sheet. Otherwise, he had 3 saves to make, 1 shot from inside the box, and he had 2 sweeper keeper opportunities in this game. So it was a wee bit more of 56 accurate passes. He was much more of a football player in this game than a goalkeeper. He did have to make some saves, but I don't think they were terribly big saves. I think Aberdeen missed the chances more than he saved chances, if that makes sense. He's missed 2 passes in the game, but he played some nice accurate balls, and really one of the long balls he played second half was one of our best opportunities because it just got us up the pitch quickly, put Kuhn into space, and he managed to kind of wiggle through some of the fullbacks and try and get something happening. So Big Schmeichel actually in the top 5 here. Closely behind him is Alistair Johnson on a 77.5. Again, he's got his clean sheet bonus. He's won 2 tackles. He's won 6 duels, only lost 1. 1 interception, 55 passes, 8 passes missed, 17 possession lost. and he's got a wee bit of attacking presence here with a shot on target as well. But looking across that whole defence there, hardly any of them have lost any of their duels. They were so good, they were so composed, and Aberdeen were really limited to the opportunities they did have in this game. And you know, the quality, the strength that we have in the defence, particularly this back three here that started, Johnson, Vickers and Trusty, is a huge difference maker. And like I said before coming into this game, we are a clean sheet machine, and you can really see that there. For you know, it's very clear for all to see there. Hatate, I think, came out with man of the match. He was obviously the match winner on the day as well. 75 out of, or 74.5 out of 100. He was fouled twice. He was fouled himself, of course. No real defensive contribution here. 4 duels won, 2 lost. 51 accurate passes, 17 of them into the final third, but 16 missed passes. But he had 17 possession loss, so he actually lost the ball in possession once. 16 of his passes, but wow, across the whole game. Went out, you know, goal kicks, throw-ins, this kind of stuff. Just turnover play, the opposition took the ball off, you know, intercepted the pass or whatever. And I felt like this is why people were pining for him to come off, because Hatate will do that. But he also played the most balls into the box that we've seen so far. 7 penalty area entries, and he's not taking set pieces. He's not swinging corners in or anything like that, and he got 2 shots on target. And he also had 1 or 2 balloon over the bar. But the wee man will definitely be chuffed. 75 is a good rating, I feel, for him in his game. McGregor, the captain, comes out with 63 out of 100. He's got 2 tackles, an effective clearance. He's also won 5 duels, having only lost 2, 71 accurate passes, 5 passes missed. And again, like, look at this for McGregor, like, accurate long balls 1, 4 passes into the opposition. And yeah, there's 21 accurate final third passes here, but those are tame passes where we've got Aberdeen like really camped in. He's only penetrated the box with his passing 4 times, 1 attempted assist where he's played the ball to someone and they've taken a shot, and he's only won 1 dribble himself. So it did feel that McGregor, he kind of played within himself a little bit here. Kuhn with no decisive, no goal, no assist, 54 out of 100. 4 attempted assists, so he's playing the ball and people are shooting 4 times in this game. 3 other balls went into the box. He won 6 duels, 6 dribbles, which is fantastic. Only 26 passes, 10 of them were missed. No tackles, no recoveries or anything like that. So again, it did feel that Kuhn was kind of isolated for periods in this game. And otherwise, I'm not sure if there's any ratings here that are worth really drilling into too much. Maeda didn't contribute much. Kyogo didn't contribute much. And really, like, Forrest, Engels, Ida, I think Ida was more presence rather than substance. He got a shot on target. He made an attempted assist. He did have a big chance missed for himself. He really should have got a goal in this one. But otherwise, yeah, a bit of a net zero from Big Ida. It was more presence and power that he really gave us, it felt like, rather than, you know, goals or goal scoring creation. And I've got a feeling, let's see how it goes, but I've got a feeling the majority of that Aberdeen team is going to be the majority of the team that we see go to Croatia to take on Dinamo Zagreb. But before we get to that, we've got Hibs at Celtic Park, I'm sure it is, this weekend. We'll be live tonight to do the predicted 11, chew over the bones a little bit more of this game, of course, as well as preview the weekend. Like I said, I'm sure there's going to be a number of changes. There's going to be a few hot topic decisions for who gets picked in what positions. I'm looking forward to the stream tonight, looking forward to the game at the weekend. I hope to see you there. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On screen and now is the stream that we're doing tonight, so feel free to click, like, yeah, let's put it here. Feel free to click on the stream we're doing tonight, hit that notification bell so you get a little reminder, and over here is something else that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Don't forget to get into the comment section. Hail, hail, and mon the hoops.